So I moved to California in 2005 and I studied at Santa Clara Law School, and I worked as a bankruptcy lawyer for maybe a year. And after that I realized that I was fed up with this profession because it's mostly dealing with people who have financial problems, and I have been dancing my whole life. And in America I met with salsa community, which is like a huge community of people of different backgrounds, and all of them were dancing salsa on the same dance floor. And it was so amazing that every time I would come back here, I would realize how much I miss that culture, and that people here lack an opportunity to participate in something like that because people didn't even know what salsa is. And that was the reason I decided to come back, because there's so many opportunities here in Russia to show people something they haven't seen, or quite honestly, in some fields we are quite far behind from Western cultures and from some European countries, and I decided to bring that something here. And I think there's so many fields in a Russian business where you can apply some knowledge that you acquired abroad and you can apply it here. That was the main thing that made my studio quite different from what was there on the market back at the time. It was 2012 when I opened Art Studio Broadway here in Orenburg. We wanted to provide not only good service in terms of dance lessons, but also good customer service. I think that in Russia there are so many opportunities now to create, to be progressive, especially for younger generation who travel a lot, who have opportunities to bring something they see overseas and implement it here. I think competition is not quite healthy here. Like I remember when I first came and we became very socially involved, we would organize different events on the streets just for free, just to show people how fun it is, you know. And we became quite popular, and I encountered problems like people would come to my dance studio at night and tear off some banners and stuff like that. They would say bad things about me personally. Connections also, it could be a benefit or a drawback, because if you have a good reputation, people would recommend you, and I think this words of mouth endorsement works quite well. I guess my favorite place in Orenburg is the so-called Red Square. It's located on the side of the river Ural. I really enjoyed walking, being outside, and Red Square is quite picturesque. You can see the embankment where they were shooting the scene from the movie Captain's Daughter. It's a novel written by a great Russian poet, Alexander Pushkin. And I think due to the fact Orenburg became well known in Russian history, we have this beautiful museum where you could see Pushkin's death mask, and we have quite a few monuments of Pushkin and Dal. You can walk around the city, you know, enjoy the views and read a little bit about the history.
Hi, my name is Artem. I was born in Orenburg and moved to the UK when I was a teenager. I lived in London for many years. Living, studying, working in London gave me the understanding that although I have many connections and friends in London, it would be much easier to move back to Russia to open and start my first business.
So I moved back to Russia in 2011 and opened my first English pub called London Cafe. And it's still doing quite well. People love it.
Because you can have real English breakfast, fish and chips, and gallons of real British beer. At the moment, I dedicate my time to my new Mexican restaurant called Amigas. And it's a real fun for me to do something different in Orenburg.
From my point of view, Russia is a good place to start your business and to test your idea, because prices here are quite low, labor costs quite cheap here, and tax regulations are not so strict as in Europe or as in the UK. It is a good place to test your startup.
One of my favorite places in Orenburg is the Sovetska Street, which is the biggest pedestrian street in Orenburg. You can find lots of bars, cafes, museums, restaurants here. So it is a good place to chill out with your friends. One of the most amazing things about this city is that when you come to Orenburg for the first time, you notice the great amount of old buildings from the 18th century. Most of them you can find in the city center, however, they're in a very poor condition, but you can still discover the beauty of old Imperial Russia.